Well, here to discuss all of that and more is Russell Myers, Royal Editor of the Daily Mirror in London. Russell, thanks so much for your time. Now that we've had a chance to see Harry's interviews, what are your main takeaways?
Well, good evening, Gary. Well, where do we start? I mean, we've had days and days of these allegations coming out, not only from his book, Spare, but obviously the interviews that have followed within it as well. And nobody comes off well, least of all Harry. But of course, the allegations of sort of violence from William, abandonment by his father, calling Camilla wicked stepmother, saying that she was the dangerous villain. I mean, the list is absolutely endless. And I think the main takeaway is it'll be a very, very long road back for Harry now.
Now, I don't think there's a road back for him myself, but anyway, we'll see. Time will tell. The main part of the interview that seems to be making headlines is this. Have a listen to this.
There comes a point where, again, going back to the relationship between certain members of the family and the tabloid press, those certain members have decided to get into bed with the devil, right? To rehabilitate their image.
Yeah.
If you need to do that, or you want to do that, or you choose to do that, well, that is a choice.
I mean, Russell, he wants a quiet life. He wants the media out of his life, but he's holding another media conference a bit later on in the day. What did you make of all of this, what he's saying?
Well, it's interesting. I think for so many levels, Harry is absolutely obsessed with certain issues in his life, be it with the media, be it his family's relationship with certain sections of the media, or indeed, the day-to-day life of palace officials. I mean, he doesn't really understand how the media works. And I think that is something that he just gets so confused within it and repeats the rhetoric that just is spinning around in his head. And he just seems an awfully confused individual. And on one sense, I think that a lot of people will feel a sense of sadness for him because his mother's death has obviously weighed heavily on his mind over the last 27 years. And it's something that he can't get out of. But this constant rhetoric of him being the victim, I think, it won't do him any favours in the public's eye.
Well, I mean, I don't think anybody in public life is there to keep the media amused. So, I can understand his reluctance, but he has a role to play. This kind of victimhood mentality is, I think, really at the heart of what I think shocked a lot of people in Britain, where the royal family are not victims. They're there to do duty. It's that sense of duty, that sense of giving back to the community, of giving some stability. And this bloke looks, well, frankly, unstable.
The issue is, I think that the palace and indeed the royal family have chosen not to engage in a war of words with Harry, and I can't see that changing at all because the more allegations that have come out, the more watered down Harry's argument has been. But I think what will hurt him and it will stay with him across this interview and this book is the admission of killing 25 Taliban insurgents. We had the British generals coming out this week, former heads of the armed forces, saying that he's actually trashed the only family he had left. He's moved on from trashing his own family to really putting his comrades in danger, and that will hurt and weigh very, very heavily when the dust has settled on this interview.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, did you get the sense of Harry in his heart of hearts actually wanted to do all of this and disclose all of this personal information, or is somebody, pushing him into it? I mean, some have said maybe the ghostwriter might have been driving a lot of this. It's almost like interview Harry, pull out a couple of gems, throw it in the draft, and suddenly it's in the book. I just find the whole thing hard to fathom.
Well, I don't think he can blame anyone but himself if it hasn't gone to plan, because he talks about the fact that he wants to get his truth out there. He's had 38 years of everybody writing his story. I mean, he has to stand up and take accountability for himself. However, throughout the whole 500 odd pages of this book, countless interviews he's been giving, I mean, the one thing I really did see that was lacking was any kind of accountability or introspection about his own behaviour. So talking about there's unwillingness from his family to reconcile. I mean, how on earth does he think that they would do that? Because he's spent the last couple of years absolutely trashing them, and the allegations put forward over the last few days are absolutely extraordinary. And even if they do get around the table with him, then that will probably end up in another US interview. So there isn't any reason for them to engage with him.
No, I get that, and the royal strategy, of course, has been silence. They'll play that strategy all the way through. I guess it's the right strategy because Harry's the issue, isn't he?
Well, he is. He certainly is the issue for the family. I mean, the family will return to work this week. I mean, the King is planning for his coronation in May. I'd be absolutely staggered if Harry did show up to that. He said that the door is still open. And the ball is in their court. But again, he knows that the family will not respond to any of this. He knows that that old mantra, never complain, never explain, is quite steadfast. And again, I talk about the issues that he really does have. There are so many of them to even comprehend. I mean, when the Oprah Winfrey interview happened, we had the allegations of abandonment and racism, quite pointed issues. But here we have a catalogue of allegations and claims from him. There's just almost too much to bear. So I think the royal family will keep quiet for the meantime.